we're talking about what's eating you. Talking about what's eating you.
Proudly brought to you by RogersHood Apothecary. Hello, beautiful people. Welcome back to What's Eating You. We are your hosts, Sam
and Kim,
where we are serving you all of the health and wellness information and healing knowledge that you're hungry for. Today is tea time with Sam and Kim, where we spill the tea. Hi, Kim.
Hi, Sam. Oh, you guys, look at Sam got me this when we were in Jonesboro, and it had flowers in it. It was a surprise, so I got it out for our tea time today. Thank you, Sam.
You're very welcome. It was a whole thing, and we will share the surprise on social so you guys can see how beautiful of a moment that was. It was so special. I love that you're drinking out of your mug today. Okay, we are spilling the tea today, Kim, on a handful of very important topics happening in the world today. Big conversations happening with RFK. Everyone is really, I would say, just lining up with this medical awakening that's happening, wouldn't you say?
Oh, they for sure are. It's really awesome to watch this. It's like we've all kind of aligned with the medical awakening to continue to help others realize that our human bodies are super precious and are a temple, you know?
That's right. And the whole world is simultaneously waking up from being sick for a long time now. It's pretty wild how chronically ill America specifically is. And we're going to get into those stats and details. And I just feel really honored to be bringing this information to help people wake up, take their healing into their own hands, give them the tangible tools that we use that have helped us in our healing journeys, and just continue to contribute to the healing of humanity, because that's really what we're doing, right?
That is. It is. It's showing people to not be afraid. It's helping them understand that they have a voice, that they can thrive for medical freedom, because that's really what this is all about. Like, we were built as a country to be land of the free, yet we're really kind of stuck in this monopoly of Western medicine, and we're indoctrinated and dictated what we should and shouldn't be doing with our own bodies. And that's like super unacceptable in my opinion. Yeah, it's unacceptable.
Unacceptable. And I used to be under, which is why I can say this, but I believe majority of people are also under a spell of some sort. They're under the influence of environmental toxins, poisonous food that's not even really food, artificial junk and poison, and heavy metals and dirty water and the parasites in the water, and just all these things we always talk about. And I know that this is bogging people down. And like, how can you wake up and have the energy and the oomph and the willpower to take your health into your own hands if you're so under?
Yep.
So it's like we have to prick people awake. And like, my hope for this podcast is that we are doing that with showing up with our own stories of how we did it ourselves, sharing information that can help people, because it's so important. Like, each one teach one. We say that all the time, right?
Yeah.
So RFK sat down with Dr. Phil and had a super potent, powerful conversation. And there's a few moments of it that I definitely want to tap into. And let's watch it. Let's roll the clip and let's talk about it.
How fun that we're all navigating this and understanding how to use the matrix in our favor, right? Because that's what we're doing. We're utilizing the matrix in our favor so that we have a voice. And I feel like a few years ago, I was able to figure that out when I went viral.
I love that. We're using it to get our voices out there. We're also using it as a university. YouTube University literally helped establish the foundation for my entire awakening. I was able to use the internet to get all the information I needed to heal myself. We're using it as a tool and as a platform for our voice, which is just so cool, right?
It's so cool. I use TTU, TikTok University. I'm like, oh, I can't be a professor in real life, right? Yeah. I'm going to use this opportunity to be a professor in that life. And now it has translated into my IRL, my in real life.
Look at you with all your internetisms. I love it. Okay, let's dive into this video. So go ahead and let's watch this first clip.
We used to have the same lifespan as they did in Europe, but the Europeans have now moved 6 years ahead of us.
So we're spending 4 times as much, and our life expectancy is going down. And the chronic disease among children has gone up. We're spending our insurance dollars, our healthcare cost in hospitals is basically managing chronic disease.
About 95% of healthcare costs are for chronic disease.
Yeah, because you step foot right into the ER and it's immediately $30,000 just to step foot into the ER. Minimum. That's why we have to have health insurance. We don't have health insurance, Sam, because of getting health. We have it because that bankrupts you. I know for a fact the cost of everything. One of my surgeries was $50,000 and I had to go in and get a waiver, and then it ended up still hitting my credit. So, and I had to have jobs because of healthcare. You know, I needed to make sure as a chronically ill person, I was always insured in case I ended up needing to go to the emergency room because it's so expensive. Okay, I'm going to keep going. I have so many things to say.
I know. What blows my mind about this specific moment is that the majority of healthcare funding goes to chronic illness treatment, not to helping people be healthy.
Right.
It's to treat chronic illness.
Sick care.
It's an epidemic. It is not healthcare. It is sick care.
Right.
Let's watch a few more seconds of this.
When my uncle was president, 3% of Americans had chronic disease. Today, it's 60%. When I was a 10-year-old boy, we spent zero on chronic disease in this country.
And this goes back to me and you talking in regards to how in the 90s, when I first started getting into medicine, that we were not in this type of environment. We really were in a health situation. We actually had options given to us if we wanted preventative care versus medical care. And I remember that specifically because I always had to be in medical care because I've had endometriosis for so long and my mom was chronically ill that healthcare was not even going to ever be an option for me.
So he said when he was 10 years old and his uncle, John F. Kennedy, was president,
that's correct.
They had zero treatments for chronic illness. So to show in his lifetime.
Yeah, how many it's gone up. But no, it's true. Or it's not even a matter of zero. It is a matter of, okay, we have progressed in society enough that we have better understanding of what chronic illness was and is, where someone like my mom, who's chronically ill and has been since the 50s, she had rheumatic fever, she's had strep, she's had all these things, but back in the day, they never documented any of this. They didn't know what any of this was, right?
I think, too, maybe it also wasn't as common.
Right.
It wasn't like
it's not
every
as common.
other person, right?
Mm-hmm.
So, Kim, what happened in the past 50 years to America? Why are we so sick today?
Well, 100 years ago, we were Western medicine became in existence, right? And it takes decades to get yourself caught up where we're all learning the same thing. We're doing continuing education. We're understanding that society is being affected by mold. Society is being affected by parasites. There's a better understanding because we've only been in this system for 100 years. Technically 50 years if you really look at it in a bigger picture, because it takes that long to get that many people trained and that many people potentially indoctrinated. Mm-hmm. And that's kind of where we're at right now, is that we're past that hump of 50 years and we're learning that, oh my gosh, 100 years ago, you guys still had mold. This just didn't get invented today. You know, it's just now we have a better understanding. We have people like us who are out here as you would say laymen or civilians, right? Mm-hmm. And so we have a much better understanding of what this all looks like. We have better testing, water testing. We have mold testing, blood work. It's an evolution for sure. But the part that I think is the most difficult, and that I'm hearing everyone in the government, the Maha movement, and just making everyone healthy again, is that we need to be believed. I mean, ultimately, that's what the bottom line is here, right? If soon as you're believed, and then comes the testing, and then comes the solutions, and it's not like people like me and you piecemealing it together, or someone spending a fortune to go to another facility like I looked into for my Lyme, it's a fortune. And so it's really about then bringing all of that information into one group of people who has the power to make the change. And we're seeing that. We're seeing that generation that he's in. He's not quite the boomer, right? Because he's still a little younger than like my parents. My parents somewhat are still stuck in the I'm going to follow what they say, don't go against the grain. Well, I'm going against the grain. You know what I mean? And he's going against the grain. So I feel like that's what's happened. I feel like just in the last 20 years, the numbers are to speak for themselves. So let's use endometriosis as an example. And then I want to kind of pivot and talk about the parasites and mold side of things. But we have 200 million women across the United States and the world that have endometriosis. 200 million. Like, it's like 6 times, don't get my numbers exactly, 6 times more than Parkinson's and diabetes put together. The funding for it is like nothing. So I've had it for 20 years. It's like, okay, let's build off that, right? So they're learning, but they're not willing to learn and expand their mind.
And you said 20 million or 200 million?
200 million.
So you're only one of 200 million. It's like how many humans are suffering unnecessarily because they don't have real help. They don't have real remedy. They don't have real solutions because the entire medical system has been built on treating, not healing, not curing, not root cause.
I know I've been asked a few times, and I want to say it on my own platform. I would like to do some medical reform. My plan over the next year is to speak with him, RFK, or someone that is willing to assist, because I have been in this world of education. Now I'm in it personally. I'm slowly getting back into it professionally. I get this is an agenda of 100 days, but like reform takes a while, and reform is really important for us. And I have like science behind me. So I just want to say that if anyone is listening to this, I do want to reach out and be like, listen, I can help in any capacity. This really is kind of like save our children at this point, because they're our next generation. I'm seeing the ripple effects that I'm able to do with just my voice on the internet, my own personal family. I'm watching my nieces be a lot more healthy and understand things better. That's what this is all about. You know what I mean?
Same.
Okay.
I've completely positively impacted my entire family, even if it's one by one, but my dad specifically, he finally woke up just in the past year about the truth about food and how it is so poisoned and how it was purposely poison. And RFK gets into that in a second. And I want to roll this clip because they bring up the causes of chronic illness that RFK put together a list of what's causing everyone to be chronically ill.
Root cause is a new word for our society, by the way. It is something that was never really discussed. Root cause was always, it's taboo. There isn't a root cause, it's genetics. So this particular word is actually a new word for our society. Just wanted to point that out.
I love it.
One of the things you've come up with is a list of the root causes. And I've made a graphic of it up here, so I've given you a big prompter you can use. The potential root causes of childhood chronic disease epidemic. And these are the things that you're putting on the list of things to work on.
Environmental toxins.
I saw
there
it.
We are.
I couldn't wait for you to see this. I knew, because right away they say environmental factors, but it's toxins, baby. It's the parasites, it's the heavy metals, it's the mold, it's all of the bacteria and the viruses, it's the dirty water, it's what's being sprayed in the sky, it's all of the things, and it's in the food. It's in the food.
It's in the food.
American diet, he put as number 1, absorption of toxic material. Well, we're also talking about heavy metals too, right? Chemicals as well. Household cleaners, we've tapped into that before. Everything in our environment, the fucking Glade plugins to this, to that. I mean, just everything is just so chemical and toxic, poison. Medical treatments is a cause of chronic
I think it's like the
illness.
third, and don't, again, numbers. I'm just throwing out what I've read at some point. The third deadliest way in the United States to get unalived is medical. I mean, that's just sad, right?
Caused by
medical
system. It's just insane.
Yep.
Lifestyle, I mean, sedentary, not exercising, not getting sunshine. I just came across a study recently where they studied like thousands of people over the span of decades and tracked all of their sun habits. And it's not about getting out there and burning. We're not talking about damaging the skin. But they thought at the beginning of the study that by the end, the people who were exposed to a lot of sun were going to end up with melanoma. And it actually was the exact opposite. The people who got regular sun exposure, a healthy amount of sun exposure, lived longer and healthier lives. And people today are just under blue lights all day long inside, just never going outside. Environmental factors, aka environmental toxins. I couldn't wait for you to see that one, Kim. Government policies is a root cause of chronic illness.
All of this is a governmental policy. All of this is a policy. Like they all have their own branch in the government. All of it. Environmental toxins. You got the FDA, the CDC, the WHO. All of those are governmental agencies who are bureaucratic men and women. And if you think about how our medical and healthcare colleges are run, as well as our hospitals, I worked under people that had never worked in the healthcare industry. Never. I was a subject matter expert. I would roll into the campuses. That's how I ended up running 25 healthcare colleges. They all were business people. You're bringing business people into a wellness space to have what understanding, right? And then it's all run under the government because there's funding. So you can't say certain things. You can't do certain things. You have to follow their policy. It's called Title IV funding. So yeah, that's 100% correct what he's saying.
To think that that could be a root cause of chronic illness. Sorry, sometimes the matrix just...
It's wild.
Trips me out because I'm like, once you wake up and you actually are your own sovereign being, your health is in your own hands, you're not putting it into anyone else's hands or opinions anymore. You just see things differently from an outside perspective, and you can see how made of lies and deceit and greed and corruption the whole matrix is actually built out of.
But on the pivot side of that, Sam, is that there are people like us, right? And I think in 2020, when I watched it all go down, I've always been this way. I think you guys have all heard me say this in the past, that I have always been kind of rebellious. I've always tried to teach people how to think for themselves as a patient advocate. And I was loved for that. And I was also hated for that. Well, I got fired from a few places because of my voice. But I feel like the biggest thing about this is that people woke up to understand what sovereignty really means. And there's a fine line between having the government step their toe in and having the government take over. And that's communism. And literally that is the word where you don't have the rights over your own body. And we are a country of medical freedom. And we are being brought down to our knees to be like, oh, okay, so if I'm nuts, if I talk about root causes, mold, parasites, I'm on an account ban warning on TikTok because I'm just being myself. And I've lost 26 different accounts on 10 platforms because I'm just talking, right, about my own freedoms. So we're getting noisy and that's cool. But like when you're stepping into being an awakened person for the medical side of everything, that is your goal, is to be your own sovereign person. Because that's how we all have to be as humans.
Well, that's being empowered.
Yes.
AKA in power. Like that's the way. You have to do it. No one will do it for you. Food production techniques. I mean,
government.
GMOs, Monsantos, all these artificial everything.
This is why it's such a big deal that RogersHood makes their own products. We oversee our own products. We literally make our own products. We literally do from A to B, and then we third-party test because we're not relying on anybody but ourselves. That's what makes it so amazing, is that it's very rare that a company can do that. You know
You're
what I mean?
self-contained, self-sufficient, and
Yes.
you don't have to answer to anyone. So you're doing it your way, and you
Right.
are doing it correctly, and you're doing it to actually serve people and help them really heal.
Yes.
So that's a completely different approach. There's 2 more on the list: electromagnetic radiation, so 5G towers, 5G
Right.
Wi-Fi,
EMF.
EMF.
Yep. And then
And
that's where you learn, like we're showing everyone how to combat that with like PEMF and calming your nervous system.
I'm
And
sitting on a biomat right now that has built-in EMF protection.
Yep.
Every time I'm ever editing or we're podcasting, it's why you always see me right here in this spot, because I'm sitting on this biomat. Like, we're combating. I have a sticker on the back of my phone.
Same with
Shout
Wave
out
Block.
Kim Rogers, who hooked it up with Wave Block.
We're like underground, Sam. We're
I know,
like
girl.
underground, man.
Yeah.
What we were talking in Jonesboro.
We are the resistance. We are the resistance.
We were like, we do the secret handshakes in the back behind closed doors. We're like, hey, Jeremy and I were flying in from Nashville after seeing Dr. Chris Motley and Dr. Josh Axe.
Yep.
We're flying in, shout out to them. And I looked at Jeremy and I'm like, oh my gosh. First off, this is exactly what it looked like when we were out in the when I was working in the field for a lot of like big P reps, right? But now I'm behind the scenes and I'm like, okay, let's talk about worms, right? Because like there's points that I can't do this on the internet. So I'm like flying to people in order to like talk with them. And like, that's really, it gives me goosebumps. I'm really thrilled to be in the space that we're in right now.
Me too. It's fucking exciting as fuck.
It really is.
It is, because we've already been on it personally for so long. So like you said, to now be utilizing technology to get this out there to people, and like who knows who's watching and how many people are tuning in and listening. I mean, What's Eating You is literally charting on Apple podcast charts in like 6 different countries.
Wow.
Most of which I have never even been to.
Make sure you subscribe and listen.
Subscribe. We are on Apple Podcasts. We're on Spotify. Everywhere podcasts stream. What's Eating You podcast, man. We're putting our mouth, we're putting our words and our voices in as many places as we possibly can. The last thing on the list is corporate influence. I mean, greed. Yeah. Greed is what I feel like is the root, man. I feel like it's.
But again, I'm going to go back to, I don't think it's everybody. I just think that the people that run things have never had any of this personally. And that really makes a difference when you're running a company, when you're running a country, when you're running reform, is that have you ever been involved? Like look at, I think it's RogersHood Apothecary. She has a podcast and she has been instrumental in changing the food policies and procedures, and like Alex Clark. I mean, all of these people have a voice, but they've never been on the medical side of things. So I feel like there's a voice that still needs to be a little more heard, but it is like a foundational building block, right? If you're changing all of the food, but you haven't changed the way that society operates for the medical side of things, then you're not building that foundation.
Yeah, I mean, just like how Rome wasn't built in a day, it's like any little advancements and improvements in any of the areas is going to feed the whole thing and help herd the whole thing in the right direction, the correct direction, right? And we're going to roll this clip in a second because it blows my mind what he says about food and how they do it and how we're using like unbelievable amount of banned illegal ingredients in America's food that other countries, it's illegal.
I would say the top concern is the diet. We have 10,000 ingredients in our food, and in Europe, they only have 400. Most of the stuff we put in our food is banned in Europe. Oh, that is a crazy, that's a crazy ratio. For example, food dyes, which we've announced now, we're going to get rid of all the food dyes within 2 years.
Okay, so definitely the food thing. Going to Europe to have our food that, is different and reverting it back. A lot of our tests get sent to other countries. So we're really in an epidemic of like wildness, to be honest with you.
Just to be clear, what tests?
Medical
tests.
Yeah. So a lot of our medical tests, like our water, our stool, some blood, they go to other countries.
Got it. Okay.
But we're supposed to be like the top country.
Yeah.
you know?
Yeah, right?
Yeah. And when you stop and you think, all right, so we're eating contaminated food, not just because of all the chemicals, but we're eating contaminated food because of heavy metals, parasites, there's mold in our food.
It's
Like,
also it's grown in depleted soil. The
Yep.
soil here has been so destroyed,
Mhm.
and it is like void of any nutrients. So it's also like it's not full of
we're
nourishment.
malnourished.
We're
And when you're
malnourished.
malnourished, you don't have the energy to push
Yeah,
through.
that's right.
So
Yeah.
you have a buildup. You get the plastics, all of that is like the conveyor belt is just building up on the back end. It's your body is a car. So if you
Yeah.
really think about when you have contaminated gas, like what happens to your car if it gets water in the gas, right? It's ruined. It starts to putz. Well, what do you think your body is? You
That's
know?
right. Yeah, I've always told people, like, imagine just going to your car and just pour canola oil in the gas tank. Like, it's not going to run.
Right.
Well, what do you think humans have been running off of? What fuel have we been running off of for 5 decades now or longer that has gotten us to this point? We're malnourished, but we're overeating. The reason why a lot of people can actually be overweight and simultaneously malnourished is because when they eat food that has zero nourishment and nutrients in it, the body isn't getting the fuel it needs. So it says, eat more, because I'm
It's
not
a defense
getting
mechanism.
Yeah. And so it's like you can eat a lot and still be malnourished.
And then you put in the factor of a parasite that can take up to 90% of your nutrients, and the only little bits of nutrients that you're getting, and it's stealing most of them. How is your body going to continue to run? It can't. It just stops. And that's what's happening. I deal with this all day long, every day. It's what I wake up and do, and I go to sleep thinking about it. And it's all I do all day long. I mean, I don't know anyone that I've ever sat down with that hasn't been like, I've had mold poisoning, I've had parasites, I have Lyme. I mean, at one point, Dr. Motley, me, and Jeremy were sitting at the same table, and all three of us have Lyme. Wild, right? We've all had parasites, we've all had mold, we've all had Lyme. So,
do you think that the body being malnourished, locked up, the systems being weakened, makes people more susceptible to catching and getting these things?
Yes, specifically because I went through a period in my life where I was a snowboarder, I roller derbied, I was athletic, I ate well, and I didn't have these problems. And I've had Lyme for probably 35 years. I'm just going to go out on a limb. I was around 10 or 11 when I know I got bit by a bug, a tick. And then I also got bit by a mosquito and a buffalo fly. And the two bacteria together have made me sick. But I didn't have any symptoms specifically because I wasn't malnourished. I wasn't over a lot of stress. I wasn't a sedentary. I wasn't like a typical American, right? Where we've all kind of declined. I know looking back and also looking at pictures that I was active and I was not so stressed out all the time. And I feel like society has gotten so stressed out, even over this. People that are going to be listening to us right now are going to be like, oh my gosh, like, oh, we're doomed, or what do we do? Or,
we have solutions.
We only come with solutions.
We are
Sam.
never only coming with the problem. That's part of spilling the tea. So we're about to spill. If you want to raise a glass to this, we have such an incredible solution and announcement to make. We've teased it a little bit before. You've heard us say it, but in 2 days from when this episode drops, RogersHood is coming out with the LymF kit. Let's get into it. Let's spill the tea. Why did you create the LymF kit? What does it do? And who is it for?
So the LymF kit I created, it's been around a year and a half that I've been working on the herbs. I've kind of gone back and forth on exactly which herbs that I wanted to have in here and exactly how I wanted it to be set up, because this isn't a cleanse. This is actually a wellness kit that you can take prior to the Parify kit. You can actually take it during the Parify kit or moldies, and you can continue to take it after. And these herbs particularly helped me. Your symptoms start to subside and you actually get a break from consistently being chronically ill and going into chronically healing. So what I did is I realized some of my symptoms, specifically when Lyme was diagnosed to me. Even though I know I've had it for an extended period of time, it does help you navigate in the root cause world. So when I picked these herbs, I specifically wanted to do something that would help prepare you in your lymphatic drainage system. So you can take the lymph kit whether you have Lyme or not.
I've been taking the lymph kit
Oh, yeah.
for the past week. I caught a little bug. We were traveling for the podcast. We went to the shop in Jonesboro, Arkansas. We had the best time, shot a ton of footage. I got to try the lymph kit for the first time, and I got to take home my very own. And I've been taking it for the past week straight, and it has been helping me get over this little head cold that I've had so much faster. I can tell it is. And I'm going to spill a little tea for y'all. I took the lymph and a worm came out of my nose.
Twice, right?
The first day. So we were at the shop in Jonesboro, right? The RogersHood manufacturing facility where they do everything. All the herbs are soaked there. They're stored there. They're soaked there. They're bottled. They're labeled. They're packaged. They're shipped out. All from this amazing facility, RogersHood facility in Arkansas. And the first day we were at the shop, we walked around. I was amongst the herbs all day. I was smelling them brewing. I was talking with everyone in the shop, all of the workers. Shout out to the RogersHood family. They're all so amazing. And I'm telling everyone about how worms came out of my nose when I did the Parafy cleanse, talking about it all day long. I get to try the lymph kit for the first time. I only took it, I took it there at the shop. We went back to our Airbnb. I took it there. And girl, a worm came out of my nose that night. And I was like, what? A worm hadn't come out of my nose in months, Kim, months. So I'm like, okay. Then on the way back, I caught some kind of bug traveling. I think it's just a little head cold. Came back, kept taking the lymph, did the Navage with ozone water in my nose with 3 drops Parafy, 5 drops Sustain, and I flushed my nose. A worm came out. So it works. I don't know what else to say. It's flushing my lymphatic system. My body uses my nose as an exit point. I have lymph nodes all here. I've always been a sinusy type person, throat, sinus, ear type person. When I get sick, that's usually where it is. So the lymph kit also will flush your lymph. And not saying worms will come out of your nose, but that's my experience. So I have noticed, though, it has been helping my lymph stay moving. Yeah. And I've been feeling, I've been telling you this whole time I've had this little head cold. This is so mild and tolerable and manageable. I've been able to work through the whole thing, all of that. And I'm like, whoa, that also is just evidence and proof to when you really take care of yourself and do all of the modalities that we show you guys we do all the time, you get your system to a very resilient space where when something does come, it's not that we don't ever get sick because we're wellness people. We get sick still. And when we do, though, how we can manage that and navigate that, and it just doesn't take us over the same way that it used to. And I'm so grateful for that. And RogersHood, your RogersHood tinctures are a huge part of why.
Oh, thanks, Sam. I was thinking about that too, because, we were doing all of these videos for our modalities and stuff. And then I started to not feel really well either because I haven't been as dedicated to them, because now we're pivoted into the talking side of the podcast. And, I was like, gosh, why am I having so many flares? Because I'm not doing them as much as I used to when we were shooting everything. And so
we're learning as we go. So
yeah,
it's
totally.
nice. It's like, oh yeah, I remember how good this makes me feel. Or I just went and got an IV drip 2 days ago and packed it full of everything because I'm like, I need help. And I instantly felt better when I left. These modalities are no joke. There's a reason that we implement them, but it's okay. It's good to be reminded. Sometimes you got to remember it's all new to us. We're talking about how many years of our life do we live a certain way, and then this is a short period of time we've been in this groove. So we're learning as we go. We're getting better. We know better, and then we do better.
Yep.
Period.
And you just keep that knowledge going. So, I did much better when I was in cold. So now I'm going to look at a cryo near me. Even though Seattle doesn't have a whole lot of cold stuff, but I feel better because I'm doing ozone IVs and I'm doing a new PK protocol and I'm taking my lymph kit to keep everything moving so that I have some support. And
the lymph kit feels really supportive.
It is.
It's for me,
I wanted to give everyone a hug.
Literally, that's what it feels like. I for my whole system and for my brain. That's what I love about Holy Skull. So she created this Holy Skull tincture. This one is so supportive for brain. I just feel really this is going to be a daily regimen for me. This isn't a prep only or post cleanse only, like, or during the cleanse for support, like, I feel like lymph is just going to be a staple in my medicine cabinet.
It's so good. It's so good.
So good. May
I love
15th,
May
2 days from when this episode drops. So
Yes.
by the time a lot of people will be hearing this, the lymph kit will be available. So lymph kit, RogersHood.com. You guys can use the code What's Eating You. We spell it What's Eating and the letter U, not YOU. What's Eating, letter U. And you can get 10% off all the kits, all the cleanses, all the tinctures, all the binders, everything on RogersHood.com. Head over there, get yourself a lymph kit. If you haven't parasite cleansed yet with Parafy, get yourself a Parafy cleanse because, hello.
Yeah.
We have been
So-
talking about these environmental toxins and why people are chronically ill this whole time. And you got to clean that soil, man. And that is like foundational. So if you're listening to this and you're wondering where to start, Parafy cleanse and the lymph kit are great places to start.
It's true. We need to clean our soil. We have to.
Kim, you actually told me the other day a celebrity, a music artist that has Lyme that I had no idea.
Yeah. Avril Lavigne. I didn't know either. It wasn't until like the LA fires that I confirmed it up. And, you know, it is a real thing. It's a root cause of a lot of people's issues. So it really kind of sparked my interest of like, well, what else can we help people with? And that really is kind of a big thing, is that you got to move your lymphatic system. You got to protect your brain. As I've been going through this, I've realized how important it is to protect your brain.
Absolutely. Avril Lavigne, you need a lymph kit by RogersHood. Everyone, can you please tag Avril? Tag Avril in the comments because we want her to see this, or her team. We want someone to get wind of this because Avril Lavigne has Lyme. The lymph kit would be great support for her, and we would love to get the word out. So please tag Avril Lavigne, man. You need that lymph kit, girl. Get you right. Get you right with that lymph kit.
Well, let's circle back to the worms coming out of your nose really quick when it came to the
You love
lymphatic
it.
kit. Always. Got to always circle back. That's why I included cinnamon. It's not-
Wow, the binder. Smart.
Yeah.
But also, if you're like me and you get your lymph moving and your
You gotta
body's
bind.
using your lymph, the lymph is our sewage system. And so if the lymph starts moving and you have things that need to come out, they're going to come out. And so you have to bind on the way out. And everyone always in the comments is like, what do you mean by bind? What do you mean by take a binder? Well, Cinnabon is RogersHood binder, and it's included in the lymph kit. It's also included in the Parafy kit. But what exactly is a binder, and what does it do, Kim, and why is it important to take it?
So our binder is cinnamon, Ceylon cinnamon, and coconut activated charcoal. It's a negative charged herb that is a magnet to positive charged toxins. So it binds before it goes into your bloodstream or back into your body, which is like, you know, not what we want. We want it to bind and come out. And when you're doing anything that could be upsetting to an environmental toxin like a parasite, they immediately drop their toxins, eggs. So now you got a whole nother round of generations to remove. The binder helps bind that. You've got heavy metals. I use cinnamon. Cinnamon also helps with heavy metals and mold spores because they'll collect those. They can hold 6 to 8 times their weight in toxins. And so even if you are like, I don't have a parasite, you don't know. We don't have accurate testing in our country, so you really wouldn't know.
Right. And even if you don't have parasites and it's not the parasites and what they're holding that you're trying to bind, you need to be binding up those toxins and heavy metals and viruses and bad bacteria and candida and mold and whatever else is in you anyway. It's not like there's no human that's free of all of these things. If you live on planet Earth, you have environmental toxin exposure.
So I'm excited for everyone to try it. I want to know how you feel. I want to know what you guys think about the herbs. It's got turkey tail and lion's mane. I had to put in the mushies. I had to.
We're mushroom people. We love the mushrooms.
So I'm excited for everyone to give it a try. Again, it's not a cleanse. It's a wellness kit. And it's for before, during, and after. It gets you understanding our tinctures, our whole system. It's really a great addition to your everyday. Ages 3 and up can take it. We still ship worldwide. We still say no chemo or blood thinners because Sustain has Oregon grapefruit in it, which is also an anti-parasitic, but it's also usnea, and usnea is really great for Lyme. So, and cat's claw is in here, so that's really great for Lyme. So anyway, I'm really excited about it. I can't wait for everyone to try it.
It's jam-packed, man. She really did her thing with all of these ingredients. It tastes super yummy. It feels like a big warm hug from Kim Rogers. It's very supportive for your body, your lymphatic system, if you have Lyme or don't, and for your brain. So everyone should definitely go out and get it. I love it. I've been using it every day. I don't see myself stopping using it. So I love it. Thank you, Kim. You did a great job.
You're welcome. Thank you to my community, to this community. I appreciate all of you guys and everything you've done for me and done for us. And Rogers Hood just really appreciates the support. What's Eating You? This podcast is awesome. We love that we can come in here and just spill the tea. And I'm just so glad. Yay.
Yeah, we love you guys. We appreciate you. Thank you for tuning in. We are spilling the tea. We are giving you the info. We want you to know tangible info that will help you in your life, help you be a sovereign human being and take your power and your healing into your own hands. That is the whole point. That is why we're here making noise. And we appreciate you all. Please like, subscribe, share. That helps us build our platform. That helps us grow and reach more people all around the world. We thank you. We appreciate you. And until next time.
Thanks,
Cheers,
bye.
Kim.
Cheers.